Okay, so I just realized I'm driving with an expired license because I went to the dispensary to get some very, very excellent live rosin cartridges, and they told me my license was expired. So I gotta start filming because the cameraman never dies. So I don't want to get pulled over for driving with an expired license. I better become the cameraman. That's how I'm doing it. So I'm just going to talk about content some more on the internet because this is something that really fascinates me. And it's something that my family has experimented with. My brother makes content, my sister makes content, and we've all experienced a boost in our engagement over time by posting daily. That's really, I think, the secret sauce. You gotta just find a platform that you like and start posting daily. I believe in the YouTube platform the most, but I think it's a combination of long-term optimization of the algorithm and your own skill in making videos, and your own awareness, and just commitment to showing up so that people can actually check up on what you're doing. I think that is really key. I mean, when it comes down to like what you share, I don't really know how much that matters. I mean, I'm my own human being with my own goals, and like, you can figure out my goals by hearing me talk. So right there in the back of my car is all my spring water that I filled up at the spring today. I'm driving from the spring, stopped by a Walmart, got a bunch of ribeye steaks, and I was gonna get live rosin cartridges because I do smoke weed, and not like 24/7 because that would be deleterious, but sometimes in the evening, less and less, honestly, now that I'm sleeping more. Like, it's kind of something I enjoy on like a weekly basis, but during periods of poor health and insomnia, I do tend to use it as a numbing agent. It's just like, my brain's already messed up, and weed kind of like provides something. I mean, at least in the evening, like if I'm not sleeping, it provides something. And especially if I combine it with meditation, it actually helps me like relax. Like, I can like just meditate 10 minutes, take a hit, meditate 10 minutes, take a hit. But I use live rosin cartridges because they're the highest quality cartridges on the market, and I mean, if you're gonna be doing something, maybe it was weed. If you're gonna be doing something, you might as well be vaporizing the highest quality extract on the market, because it's better for your lungs than the smoke, better for my lungs than the smoke. I don't feel irritation in my lungs as much, and it's just higher quality, and I find I use it less, and it's overall healthier because it's higher quality. So, and again, I'm not like the proud, like super like proud of smoking weed, but because it's kind of like, I think it is like a little bit of a weakness, at least doing it more than like once a week, once every 2 weeks. I think it's a weakness, but I'll just be open about it online because I think it's something that people struggle with fairly frequently. So I think that this is useful for people. Like, hey, like if you are using weed as a crutch, it is beneficial to use the highest quality stuff that you can get. Even though you can get cheaper stuff, it's not as high quality, and it's ultimately going to hurt you. You're going to use more of it, you're not going to feel as good. And I think that if you're going to have a vice, you might as well try to make it as healthy as possible while you improve everything else in your life, so that you can remove the vice if you think it is a vice. I do think it is a vice, but I don't think it's the worst vice, and it's not like as addictive as a lot of insomnia medications that are out there that are GABAergics, and I never got addicted to any of those, so I'm very, very grateful for that. But I picked up the habit of smoking weed, so, and it's still kind of lingering around. And I was going to get some live rosin cartridges, but sour amnesia ones from Good Chem, that was going to be so nice, but it was not to be. For my licenses expired, and they would not let me in, to their loss, because I feel like the universe would be better if I had gone in and gotten them. But oh well. But the point is, with YouTube, I think that the type of content doesn't necessarily matter. because ultimately you'll figure out what kind of content is best for you. I'm speaking to business owners here, or just anyone. I mean, ultimately, people find all sorts of different content interesting. People find podcasts interesting. People find just videos of monologues interesting. People find all this stuff interesting. So content online can just be content. It can just be you thinking. And ultimately, from that, you can find gems. You can find... I've had a lot of my best thoughts while just like free associating in terms of YouTube, making YouTube videos. Like right now, because I'm making a video, I feel the need to share productive thoughts. Like my brain gets dopamine from sharing productive and interesting thoughts, and that ultimately encourages me to search out my mind to find these productive and interesting thoughts. So I make the videos, I put them up. I'm getting a call from my wife. I am going to stop the video so I can pick up the call from my wife. But let me know what you've gotten out of this video. I guess the reason I'm going to keep making the video is the same reason I make all the videos, which is that content, it's like art. It doesn't really need to make sense beforehand. It makes sense in retrospect. Ultimately, I don't know what the total impact of all the videos I make will be, but I make the videos in order to make the videos and share the ideas that come of making the videos. So, and a lot of this is also to avoid audience capture. I think this is the way you have to think about it, because ultimately, if you're not just making videos for the sake of making videos and exploring your ability to communicate via this medium, then you're trying to cater to your audience. And if you're trying to cater to your audience, then you're ultimately going to end up becoming a caricature of yourself over time. So I'm really practicing the discipline of not trying to cater to my audience at all, but trying to cater to my own ability to figure stuff out and share ideas via the medium. And over 5, 10, 15 years, over long periods of time, I will create a massive library of videos that will teach people how I learned how to think about the internet and about technology. And that is going to be of tremendous value. So ultimately, I was thinking about audience capture when I first started the video, and I've been talking around it. So I'll title this video Audience Capture Avoidance. And I think that that is really the essence of this. This is about avoiding audience capture and avoiding getting caught in the eddy of your own attention. Like, we all have our niches and have our habits that we fall into. And I think that this is good. You want to have these things because they form central tendencies of life, of content, of thought. But ultimately, as with writing, as with all art, as with all creating, you don't want to become limited by what you think that others expect of you, because that's not really being alive. I'm reading Zen, The Art of Motorcycle Maintenance right now, and he's really meditating on this as he's writing the book. He talks about how you can tell the nature of a book that has a predestined idea behind it. And I think in the same way, you can tell the nature of content that has a preconceived idea behind it. So I think that that's good for various videos, and it's good for certain aspects of content strategy. You definitely want to have intention behind what you do. But I think in a broader sense, you can't reduce your actions to what makes sense, because then you're left with only what makes sense. You're constantly trying to adapt your business model to this logical reductionist view of how you can make something for money. And I think that this is good. Like, you have to do this. You have to think about how to make money and how to provide value in exchange for money. But it can be at the expense of your soul. So I think you avoid that by overcoming your own ego. Like, I ultimately am making this video from a place of feeling like it's not good enough, but trying anyway to make it good enough, and then I'm going to release it anyway so that I can get over my own perfectionism, because that perfectionism is a trap that will ultimately consume my soul, consume the soul of my content. I'll ultimately worry too much. Oh, well, what will they think of this idea? What will they think of that idea? What are they going to think about this? And that's where they come back to the beginning of the video. What you make in terms of content does not matter as much as that you make it, and that you make it every day, and that you try your best to share valuable ideas through the content, because people will decide if they like it or not. Like, it's not up to me to make every single video a banger. Like, I don't even know how I do that, because a lot of the videos that I don't think are going to be bangers end up being the most popular videos. I don't understand it, but it's just the way it works. And this happens years later, or who knows, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ultimately can't control what happens to my artwork. And this is artwork in a sense. So I just try my best to make myself as engaged as possible and to understand the world through the creation of the artwork. And I encourage everyone else to do the same thing, because ultimately, you don't, like, people have a limited attention span. People are going to watch you, and then they're going to go watch something else, and they're going to watch you again. And this could be over years, decades, who knows how long. So you can't be chasing the attention of other people, because I'm speaking to myself here. Like, if I chase the attention of other people, then I'm going to lose my own respect. I'm going to lose my own attention. So I'm really just seeking my own attention and seeking my own engagement. And by doing that, I'll make content, some of which you'll like, some of which you won't like, some of which people in the future will like, some of which people in the future won't like. Who knows? Who the heck knows what's going to happen? Who knows if this is going to be cut up and shown and shared in the future? I don't really know. I just believe in sharing my ideas. It's kind of crazy, honestly. Like, I feel like it's kind of nuts. Like, I just believe in sharing my ideas. And I believe in putting out a lot of different stuff. Like, I think ultimately I take after the Renaissance artists. The Renaissance artists just created a lot. And any great scientist just does lots of research. Any great creator creates a lot. And this is one way I can create. And I believe that these videos, I believe that YouTube itself and this way of sharing ideas is going to be incredibly revolutionary. So I just want to participate in that. And I think I do anticipate reaping some rewards in the future from the attention, though I really don't. I'm just interested in kind of like where it goes. Like, I have now other ideas in my supplement company and other business ventures that I think are much more likely to return a lot of money immediately and become more predictable. YouTube isn't really predictable. Like, writing books isn't really a business. I don't think. I don't even think selling books is necessarily a business, because it's sort of unpredictable. Like, books are not fungible commodities. They're all very unique, and people like them for unique reasons. So I think it's useful for business to find something. And say with videos, YouTube channels, all this stuff, I have no idea what the end result of it's going to be. I simply believe that to be in a free society, I have to freely share my ideas if I believe they're of value. So I'm just doing that in the best way that I know how, in order to keep people thinking, keep ideas circulating, put my ideas out there, allow the world and everything to kind of like make what they will of my ideas. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I mean, we're kind of doing that constantly. I think that ultimately I'm pursuing my own ability to share ideas through this, because I think that that's valuable, and I think that's valuable in a way that people don't entirely understand. Like, even the people on Shark Tank, the hardened investors on Shark Tank, share ideas through Shark Tank and try to put themselves out there to let people know what they think through that show, because there's value in sharing the ideas. I don't think it comes in directly people buying your product or some direct like return on ad spend or return on the expense of creating the content. But I think that it's simply in a way that creating enriching ideas and enriching products brings attention to you, and then people come to you with more ideas and more opportunities. And I'm young, I'm 26. Like, I want to explore all the possibilities and all the opportunities that are immediately available to me as a 26-year-old, because I don't really know. I don't really know what YouTube is going to come, what's going to come of YouTube, what's going to come of the supplement industry, what's going to come of these things. But I mean, I do have a much better idea of the supplement industry. I do have a good idea of YouTube, but I don't really know. I mean, I think that I anticipate maybe like doing retreats and getting a big YouTube following, doing retreats or something, using it as a platform to launch books. And again, I don't know. I mean, I think that ultimately the value and the money and the wealth that I'm going to generate in my life is going to come from my ability to make products and consumable services that immediately improve the day-to-day lives of people in some very immediate and tangible way. But I also think that, I mean, this is where I think that I'm really silly for making YouTube videos, because like, this is a lot of time and energy I'm putting into this, and where's the return on investment? But I don't really think that that's the way to think about it. I think that the way to think about it is really in terms of like creating value. Like, I just want to keep creating value, and I think that by the time that I start benefiting from the value I've created, I should already have created new value. It's like children. Like, I make children, and I'm not going to like you invest a lot in them before you get value in return in terms of like people you can have a relationship with. I think that in the same way, I'm really investing in my own belief in a future and my own ability to share ideas. I mean, it's really like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll like eventually write this all off as like a nonprofit or something, because I don't really understand it, but I'm just going to continue to put all these ideas out there, because I do have some idea that the more I put these ideas out there, the more people are going to gravitate towards the ideas that I find interesting. And then merely as a result of people consuming the ideas that I find interesting, the world itself will become more of a place in which the ideas that I find interesting thrive. And ultimately, this will lead to the widespread adoption, or at least the narrow adoption, of the ideas that I find the most useful. And I think that this is like good. I mean, I think that I'll benefit from this, but I think that I more benefit from like who I become as a result of doing this, in the same way that like, if I just wanted money, I would just find some scammy way to get money. But like, I believe in investing in the goodness of the human spirit, as strange as it sounds. But I look around at me, and I think that all this comes from that. I think that scientists invest years of their life into doing research that they ultimately don't financially benefit from, maybe a little bit. But like, I ultimately want to give all my work greater meaning too. And I feel like the more meaning that I can imbue into things, and the more vision I can imbue into things, the more people will engage with my own content and the world. And I'm trying to give people a reason to continue to engage with the world and their own lives on a daily basis as well. And I don't ultimately distinguish a difference between, I guess, in the same way that I make my ideas, the ideas that I find useful, available, I also make the products that I've created for myself useful through the supplements I sell. And I think that if I do both of those things as well as I can, that will lead to my long-term success. But I guess in some sense, I don't think I can afford to not invest thoroughly in both ideas and physical products, because ultimately the world is comprised of ideas and physical products. And I think that that's an important reality, though I don't fully understand it. I think that a lot of people who end up being starving artists, end up becoming starving artists because they don't have the ability to make products that are consumable that people would use every day. And a lot of people who make products that are consumable that people use every day don't have the ability to really make a vision a business because they don't have the ability to communicate. And I think that when I hire people, I'll ultimately have to communicate with them. And when I put my business out there, I'm ultimately communicating with people. So I just see YouTube as a really effective way to communicate with people, but I don't want to only do that through the guise of business, through the lens of business, and through the lens of a business-oriented YouTube channel, because I don't think that people consume content through businesses or consume ideas through businesses. I think they consume ideas and understand ideas through people. So I think that it forms two ends. Like you have Steve Jobs introducing the iPhone. And I think that you have Devin Young introducing Young Formula supplements, formerly Weak to Warrior supplements. And I think that the more that Devin Young can create products for Young Formulas and the more that I can share ideas, the more that both of these things come together. Because I want people to look at the bottles of the supplements and see the beauty and see the consciousness and the love put into this product. And then I want them to go look at my YouTube videos and consume love and consciousness through my content. And then ultimately go forth and do greater things in the world. Then I ultimately live in a greater society for that. And I think that that's ultimately a very optimistic message too. And I think people want an optimistic message, and I think that I need to put this message out there. I think people who have belief in an optimistic future need to put their belief out there, because without that belief in an optimistic future, what do we have? And without people sharing their belief in an optimistic future, then who's going to share it with other people? I mean, they're just going to watch the news, they're going to watch the Kardashians, they're going to watch the stupidity out there, and it's not as helpful. So I encourage anyone who has coherent thoughts longer than 30 seconds to share them. And that's why I do that as well. I mean, I don't think that it's necessarily a business decision to do that. I think it's more of a personal investment in your own culture. And I think that doing that gets you thinking in a certain way that is service oriented. And I think that service orientation is the ultimate essence of business itself. I think that that's what's fundamentally missing. And I think that if you get good at doing that, you can easily partner with other people who have products. And then you yourself can just affiliate market, and you can become a center of consciousness for encouraging people to make quality things and rewarding people who make quality things by giving them views. And I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, yes, you can go on Patreon. Patreon seems like a way to make this profitable. Oh, I'm getting a call from my house, so I'm just going to pick that up because I love my family. I love talking to them.